Today, we're talking about Avatar. How did James Cameron's massive Hollywood gamble become this global phenomenon that didn't just break box office records, but actually change the way we think about movies? Because let's be real, it was way more than just a film. It was a full-blown cultural event.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll dive into the original vision for Pandora, which you'll see was decades in the making. Then, we'll get into the insane technology they literally had to invent to bring it to life. After that, the mind-blowing box office numbers that proved all the doubters wrong. And finally, we'll look at the massive, ever-expanding universe it's become today.
Okay, first things first, let's nail down this core concept. The word avatar itself has these ancient roots, and James Cameron leaned right into that, pulling from the idea of Hindu gods taking on a physical form. But in his sci-fi world, it's all about the tech. A genetically engineered Na'vi body that's basically a biological puppet, letting a human operator see, feel, and live on Pandora from miles away.
But you know, this whole universe, it didn't just start with $1 billion budget and a green light. Nope, it started as an idea, a vision that James Cameron held onto for years and years, just waiting for the right moment and the right tools to finally make it real.
And what's really interesting is how Cameron himself talked about it way back in 2006. For all the futuristic tech, he called it an old-fashioned jungle adventure. At its heart, he was aiming for something classic, something mythic that felt timeless, grounding this massive sci-fi epic in a kind of story we all instinctively understand.
And get this, the most iconic image from the whole film, the blue-skinned Na'vi, didn't come from a focus group or a team of concept artists. It actually came from a dream. Seriously, James Cameron's mother had a dream about a tall blue woman. He thought it was a cool image, and from that one simple, personal moment, the look of an entire alien species was born.
So having the vision is one thing, but actually creating it, that was a whole other problem. See, when Cameron first dreamed up Pandora back in the 90s, the technology to make it look and feel real just plain didn't exist. He and his team literally had to invent it from the ground up.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It shows the incredible patience this whole thing took. Cameron writes the first version in the mid-90s, but has to put it on a shelf for almost a decade because he knew CGI just couldn't handle his imagination yet. It wasn't until movies like Lord of the Rings showed what was possible with characters like Gollum that he knew, okay, the time is finally right.
But even when Cameron was ready to go, the studio, 20th Century Fox, was getting really nervous about the budget, which was just getting bigger and bigger. To make a point, Cameron did something pretty legendary. He installed a traffic light outside his producer's office and just left it stuck on amber. It was this constant, blinking reminder that the most ambitious movie ever was just stuck in limbo.
And this quote from a Fox executive just nails the feeling at the studio. This wasn't just another blockbuster. It was this huge, unprecedented gamble. They thought it was borderline crazy, and they couldn't decide who was the bigger risk taker, them for funding it or Cameron for thinking he could actually pull it off.
So to get that green light, what they needed was a total revolution in filmmaking. They had to pioneer new performance capture techniques to get every little bit of the actors' expressions onto their Na'vi characters. They had to develop a whole new 3D camera system, and they had to be able to handle a just mind-boggling amount of digital data.
And by mind-boggling, I mean over a petabyte of digital storage was needed by the visual effects company Wētā Digital. To put that in perspective, a petabyte is 1,000 terabytes. For a single movie at that time, that amount of data was pretty much unheard of. The density of all that visual information was just completely off the charts. It all added up to a point where every single minute you see in the final film required a massive 17.28 gigabytes of storage. The render farm they used was so powerful, it actually ranked among the top supercomputers in the world, and even with all that power, rendering just one frame of the movie could take hours.
So, after all that risk, all that waiting, and all that game-changing innovation, did the gamble pay off? Well, let's take a look at the box office, because these numbers tell one of the wildest stories in the history of movies. The payoff was, to put it mildly, staggering. On a production budget of $237 million, which was a huge amount of money back then, the movie brought in nearly $3 billion worldwide. It wasn't just a hit, it completely shattered all the records to become the highest-grossing film of all time. The studio's gamble paid off bigger than anyone could have possibly imagined. And it didn't just earn all that money, it did it at a breathtaking speed. It hit the $1 billion mark in just 19 days, which was unheard of.
And then it just kept going, blowing right past the $2 billion line, becoming the very first film in history to ever do that. It just kept defying every single expectation, week after week.
And to really put that in context, just look at the other giants of that era. By the time its first run was over, Avatar had soared past huge hits like The Dark Knight, and even James Cameron's own previous record smasher Titanic. The guy didn't just beat the competition, he beat himself.
But, the film's success wasn't the end of the story. Not by a long shot. It was the beginning. The world of Pandora was just too rich and way too popular to be stuck in a single movie, and it quickly became the foundation for a multi-decade entertainment saga.
And Cameron is clearly playing the long game here. He's not just making one-off sequels, he's building this massive, interconnected saga. With films planned all the way out to 2031, the Avatar story is set to span more than 20 years, with each movie weaving into this much larger epic narrative.
And the world of Pandora has truly exploded beyond just the movie screen. It's a physical place you can actually go and visit at Disney World. It's been a live Cirque du Soleil show. It's a universe you can explore in video games and comic books. And you can even learn the Na'vi language. It's fully constructed with its own grammar and a vocabulary of over 1,000 words.
So that really brings us to the big question, right? When we look back on all of this years from now, what's Avatar's ultimate legacy going to be? Is it the technological revolution that made these photorealistic worlds possible? Is it the classic mythic story about a hero caught between two worlds? Or is it the birth of this sprawling, immersive franchise that kind of redefined what a cinematic universe could even be? The final answer to that is still being